Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to this live webinar. I will give some time to people to join because that's a topic that I believe will generate some very valuable discussion. We will be concerned with freelancers. We will talk about everything that you need to know having to do with going into freelance. What's the right time to take the plunge to move into the new world of setting up your own business and shop? Why a freelancer is not necessarily an entrepreneur? These two concepts are often different. They take you to different directions. So a freelancer may decide to be an entrepreneur and may not. Challenges and opportunities in going solo, developing your branding strategy, leveraging social media, pricing, building trust, and some other very important things. So welcome to Marvel Webinars. This is the third webinar of the Marvel series. I believe that quite a few people have begun to gather before the various platforms. And I would like to tell you that I have not prepared a single slide. I was thinking to prepare slides, but I decided that I don't want people to be distracted. I would like to give you my thoughts and the raw truth behind everything I stand for in relation to going solo. Or in case you have already built your business, if you have a startup or a small business and you're wondering whether you need to do something else to help with the growth and the development of the business, I believe this will be good for you as well. So the structure, the skeleton of the webinar will be very simply, as I said, without slides, as follows. Why, when, what, who, where, how. Starting with why, understanding your intentions, the reason why you may be considering moving into freelance. Intentions are sometimes much more important than the actual execution of your plan. So why, what it is that you should be expecting in the freelance world, and generally to offer, to facilitate some self-reflection as to help you know where you're getting into. Then we move into the when. When is the right time to take the plunge? When is the right time to, let's say, to quit your 9-to-5 job and to pivot into the new freelance landscape with the challenges, the opportunities, and everything else that comes with the package. So when is about timing, then we move to the what. What is it that we want to do? What is it that we want to offer to the world? What is it that you want to focus on when you become freelance? Or if you are already a freelance or a business, whether you may need to go for a niche, whether you may need to polish and ascertain and crystallize your unique value proposition. Moving then from the what to the who. Who should you target? What are the options when it comes to selecting the market that we want to enter, when it comes to selecting the ideal clients that we want to approach, when it comes to selecting ideal partners or affiliates that we want to partner up with in our new journey into the freelance landscape? Then we move to the where. Where will my business be staged? Will I have an office? Will I work from home? Will I work from Starbucks? Okay, the where. Do I need to rent an office? Do I need to pay so as to set up a business address somewhere? And finally, the big how. How do I go about it? What are the practical implications that I should expect in my journey to become a freelancer? So the how is actually getting down to doing the work, getting down to setting up what you need to set up. Before we begin with why, let's simply say that and accept that the freelancer, okay, is someone who does work for a company or other persons who are not his or her employer. So a freelancer is a contractor. He can perform work for 1, 2, 3, or even more businesses, and he or she is not an employer. So this is the basic definition of a freelancer. A freelancer can be a graphic designer, a music producer, a baker, a chef, a painter, a dog walker, an accountant, a lawyer, a masseuse, a vocal coach, a trainer, a fitness coach, and everything and anything in between, okay? So this is who is a freelancer. Let's start with why. Why do we want to go into freelance? Is it because you want to work less? Is it because you don't want to work for a boss, for a manager? Is it because you want to become your own boss? Well, I want to give you a couple of tips from my own experience as a freelancer in the past 2 years, having left a 9-to-5 job that I was working for 15 years. There is a lot of hustling, there is a lot of hard work. So moving into freelance, especially for the first 2 years, will require you to wear many different hats and juggle between very different tasks, okay? Nothing easy will come to you. Nothing will come into a silver plate. You need to put a lot of hours. And let me tell you some things about the freelancing world as well. This is not to discourage our viewers, but this is to tell you the reality of what it is. You need to find clients. You will need to build your business. You will need to market your business. You will need to go out, make offers, get rejected, okay? Get up and move on with it. You will need to save money, avoid spending money on luxuries and things that you might have otherwise afforded having a 9-to-5 job. You may need to postpone buying the new car. You may need to eat more kebab than sushi. Okay, so the why it is very important to understand and to reflect on what it is that you are going into and to have the correct reasons for doing so. Okay. Something else about freelancing. If you are an employee of a firm, very little reflects on you as regards customers, as regards success. In what sense? If you make an offer and your offer is rejected, you don't take it personally because you know, okay, I'm working for that firm. They didn't get the job. It's not the end of the world. Okay, we don't own the firm. We're just employees. When you become a freelance, you feel everything in your skin, right? So whatever you do, you feel it deep within your soul and under your skin. It is therefore important to have patience and to grow a thick skin because you will take many rejections and many disappointments head on. You will be on your own. Okay, that's not doom and gloom. That's not to tell you or to deter you from doing that, but it's to tell you that you are on your own. And that, of course, also gives you a sense of accountability and ownership over your efforts, which give you a great satisfaction each and every time you succeed in getting a new job, getting fees and getting paid and remunerated and getting compliments because it reflects 100% on you and your efforts. Okay, so the why is very important. Why do I want to become a freelancer? And to pinpoint exactly what I want to do. And let me tell you something else, and then we move into the when. When is the right time to move into the freelancing world? A freelancer is not necessarily an entrepreneur or a businessman. Why? Because a freelancer is somebody who wants to provide services, who wants to provide value, who wants to do the great job for people who care and to get remunerated and to have the satisfaction that he or she offers high quality work that she believes in, that motivates him or her, that she really wants to ship to the world and to provide to the world. Okay, that's a freelancer. If your idea of moving into the freelancing or solopreneurship world is that you want to employ people to do the work for you, that's not freelancing. That's entrepreneurship. So you need to decide as to whether you want to become a freelancer, which means you want to be doing great work yourself, or what you have in mind is to build a company and business, employ people so that they will do the work, and you will be more eventually and gradually a supervisor and somebody who will be doing less and more. Okay, it's a dilemma that everyone has to face. For example, I'm a trainer. I love doing trainings. I love meeting with people, facilitating discussions, helping teams become more efficient, and so on. This is clear freelancing work. If I decide to open an academy and become the owner of an academy, okay, so that I will hire trainers to go out and do the work, it's not the same thing, okay? That's why I need to decide, do I want to be doing trainings? Do I want to be doing graphic design? Do I want to be a lawyer offering legal services? Do I want to be a music producer? Or do I want to become an owner, a boss, a business owner, so that people will do these things for me, okay? So this is part of the why. These are questions that we need to ask ourselves so as to know whether freelancing is for us or not, or to know whether we need to consider the timing of moving into freelancing and our strategy as well. So that's with why. Let's move to the next pillar, which is when. When is the right time to make the move into freelancing? By the way, you can post all your questions, and you can say, hi, I'm reading all the comments here, both on Facebook and here on YouTube. I will be turning to both screens so as to be able to control the comments. When should you go solo, right? When should you quit your job? When should you take the plunge and start the new page or book or library in your life, okay? There is no rule of thumb, but you need to consider your finances, obviously. In my case, when I took the plunge 2 years ago, I had collected and buffer an amount of money that could help me last for a maximum of 3 to 6 months, okay? You need a maximum of 3 to 6 months, okay? So as to allow you to put to step into your new chapter and begin working and doing the good work that you want to do. If you have loans, you have mortgages, or you have obligations, you're paying for child support, you're paying your boss, you're paying your neighbors, I don't know, and you have bills and obligations building up on a monthly or weekly basis, you have rent, you have lease and all these things, as you will appreciate, doing the move will require more time, okay? You need to take into account the financial situation, and it may not be the proper time for you to move into freelance if you have all these obligations, the monthly or weekly obligations. You need to be able to have a buffer for at least 3 and ideally 6 months to make it on your own, okay? And in case you are doing a side hustle, so in case you have your job and at the same time, let's say during the night time, you have your side hustle, you are doing something else. Hello, Marios. I will come back to you later. Thank you for your comment. You need to consider that you should be able to generate at least 2 to 3 times your expenses before you take the move. So if you have a side hustle, let's say Marios is a great producer from Rhodos. We work together, and I'm really, really pleased to have him now on the show. Let's say that you are a lawyer and you want to pivot into music production. You want to produce music, albums, and so on. And you do the music stuff on the side, okay? The right time for you to pivot into the freelancing, into the new venture, should be, okay, when you manage to generate 2 to 3 times your monthly expenses by your side hustle, right? So if you can manage to generate, let's say if your only expense is your rent, you're renting your flat, and you have some other, day-to-day, the food, the electricity, and your monthly expenses in the region of 500 euro or 1,000 euro, let's say 1,000 euro, the right moment to pivot will be when you manage to generate 2,000 euro per month from your side hustle, right? Otherwise, you should, if you don't have a side hustle, you should at least have a buffer of 3 to 6 months of savings, okay? Ideally 6 months, so as to help you spread your wings into the new stratosphere of the freelancing world. So that's with the when. Everyone has their own milestones and their own criteria and parameters for knowing when to jump. You don't need to rely only on the financials. Of course, you need support from your environment as well, okay? If you are married, you definitely need the support of your spouse. It goes without saying, and your family. Because pivoting from a secure job, from a safe work environment where you get your monthly salary, where you have job security, it may give you a sense of freedom and relief, but for everyone else, it can be chaos. I mean, your family, your spouse, even your kids, unless you are all aligned, okay, and you are on the same wavelength as to what you're doing, and everyone is cheering and supporting you, you need to consider your timing. Your timing may not be correct, right? You need financial support and emotional and psychological support from your family and your circle and your friends. You cannot please everyone. Some people will tell you not to do it, not to jump ship, not to delve into the freelancing world because of the risk, because you will lose your safety, your security, but at least you need the support of your close family, okay? Now, let's move to the more important and the nitty-gritty part. We finished with when is the right timing. Let's move to what? The big chapter, the biggest chapter. What will you be doing? I gave an example of music, okay? Will you be pivoting in a completely new environment? So maybe you are a lawyer and you decided to be a music producer, or you decided to become a baker, or you decided to become a consultant, a coach, a trainer like me. What it is that you want to be doing in your new, let's say, chapter? Will you stay in the same industry? For example, what I did, I left the legal practice, but I became a trainer of lawyers. So in a sense, the pivot was within, let's say, the same industry to an extent. What will you be doing? Let's say you are a manager in a major coffee shop, right? You are a manager, well-paid manager in a coffee shop of a big chain of cafeterias, and you want to do the pivot. Perhaps you want to become a consultant of coffee shops, for example. Perhaps you want to set up your own coffee shop, okay? So you need to understand and decide what it is that you want to do. You don't need to get it perfect. You should start with something, but have an open mind, have a growth mindset, so as to be able to navigate through the various intricacies, the challenges, and to change course and to rebrand if you need to, move into a new direction. But it's important to sit down and think, what are my skills? What is my passion? What is my strength? What can I do right now and charge for it? What can I sell right now to the world? Okay, and then you take everything together, and you, on the one hand, you have the toolkit with your skills, your passions, your talents, your qualifications, your transferable skills, your soft skills, Okay? You may have great communication skills. You may have great time management skills. You may have, during the years of your employment, you may have gathered conflict resolution skills, communication, management skills, dealing with difficult people. All these skills will allow you to set up or prepare the new suit for the new environment you are entering. So what it is that you will be doing? On the one hand, what skills, strengths, and passions do you have? Okay. On the other hand, what can you sell so as to generate money and income? You need to align your passion, your talents, your desires with what the world needs. Because, for example, I may want to become a poet. Okay, I love poetry. I am great in poetry. I am a wordsmith. I love using language. Okay, that pretty much ticks the first box. But is there a market for it? Do people buy poems? I don't think so. Bluntly, I don't think so. Okay, so what it is that you will be doing? How can you align your talents, your passions, your strengths, the transferable skills that you have developed during all these years, and create the new you, the new Philippos? How can you sell what you have to the world? Okay, so we need to decide whether we will stay in the same industry and perhaps do a pivot, change hats, change roles, or we need to decide whether we will leave completely from the industry and do something completely different. But whatever it is that we do, we need to align our skills, our passion, our strengths, our unique value proposition, right, with what the world needs, with what there is demand for. Okay. The other point that I get often, quite oftenly, is the question of niche. Should I niche down in my freelancing journey? Should I be as narrow as possible in defining what it is that I will be doing? Let's say, as Philippos, should I be offering only digital marketing services for lawyers? Okay, you could do that, but you need to take into account that unless there is a sufficient audience, a sufficiently viable audience, okay, for you to address your services to, and to generate fees and to start your new journey, you may find that having an extremely narrow niche, an extremely narrow focus on what it is that you want to be doing may take a lot of time, and it may not be a good approach to proceeding forward. So I will propose that you begin the other way around. Begin with a fairly broader niche, like in my case, for example, assisting lawyers and law firms develop more business, okay? And then you create branches of that new niche if you are into consulting, for example, right? So niche is about what exactly it is that I will identify myself with, okay? A very narrow niche will be, for example, being a consultant, a marketing consultant to cafeterias. Okay? A broader niche can be being a marketing consultant to cafes, restaurants, hotels, right? Shops, whatever. Or so the niche, understanding how narrow you want to go as regards your niche, will be important, and you may need to adjust and be flexible enough to change course in case you see that you went way too narrow. Then the price is also very important. You need to position yourself in the market, right? For me, let's say that I'm offering training to law firms, management training to law firms, sales training to law firms. You need, when you decide as to what it is that you'll be doing, you need to set a price. And you need to take into account that the price you will set will send signals to the market. So if you are very cheap, for example, you may be communicating to the market that the value you are offering is the price. Okay? So you are cheap because you want to target a part of the market that loves cheap. Okay? No problem with that, as long as you can take into account that if you're cheap, you may need to get more assignments, more clients than otherwise. As long as you intentionally and deliberately integrate a low price within your strategy, there should be no problem with that, right? It's a different model. On the other hand, if you want to go on the expensive side, if you want to be an expensive freelancer, you need to understand two things. First of all, the higher the ticket of your service, the more you need to justify it, the more you need to differentiate, okay? A client will not assume that you are expensive because you are worth it. A client will only be convinced to pay a high price if you manage first to differentiate yourself, right? Firstly, to explain why you're more expensive, and I will give an example right now from the fitness world. And secondly, once you manage to earn the trust of the client and the prospect. So you should only talk about price once you manage to differentiate yourself, so that you tell your prospect, okay, what options you have out there? Options A, B, C. We have this trainer who charges this amount of money, the other trainer who charges the other amount of money, okay, and so on and so forth. And then I come and I'll say, that's great. What I do, okay, I don't do what trainer A and trainer B does. What I do is something different, okay? I hold meetings, I hold interviews, I spend the whole week with the firm that I want to train, for example, and then I devise a training strategy together with the management and the HR. And at the end, I also do a debriefing meeting. I do some tests, blah, 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 blah. And you understand that with my background, with my CV, and with all these pieces of the puzzle and modules of the project together, my fee will be higher. Okay, so if you intend to enter a more premium part of the market, you will need to justify it. You will need to communicate and explain why you are more expensive, and you will need to convince clients and rebut the assumption as regards your price. There is a trap as regards pricing, in the sense that if you set your prices too low and you communicate and you convey your prices to the world, it will not be that easy to change your mind down the course. So if, let's say, my training, my workshops cost 10,000 euro, for example, okay, and I get no clients, and I publicize that my workshops cost 10,000 euro, and suddenly I decide, I have no clients, so I will reduce my price to 5,000 euro. You know what? This doesn't look good. This doesn't look professional. And the flip side as well, if I charge 5,000 euro for my classes, for my workshops, for my coaching package, 5,000 euro, okay? And after a couple of months, I decide that, I think I'm selling myself cheap. I have much more value. People gain much more value than just 5,000 euro. Let's change the price to 10,000 euro. Tough luck. People will think that you are completely chaotic. People will think that you are out of your mind. You are a narcissist, or and that you are not reliable. So when you set your price for what it is that you want to be doing as a freelancer, right? Spend some time to study the market, talk to some people, see what the market is like. And if the market range, let's say, for training is between 5 to 10,000 euro, for example, then you can play within that specific range. So the more homework you do when you decide to set your price, the better you will be in a better position to set a price that you will not regret, and then you will feel you are in an inelastic situation to change easily. You can always change gradually, okay? But very bold and drastic changes are often not perceived positively by the market. And let me give you an example of the fitness program I told you. I have a friend, a coach, Stelios. We also did a training together. If you are listening, Stelios, send us a comment. Who had this exact problem? A freelancer. He has a gym. He runs classes from early in the morning until late in the evening, okay? And he was charging, let's say, I cannot remember exactly now, let's say 50 euro per month for a student for Muay Thai and fitness classes. At some point, he wanted to raise his prices, right? And then he studied the market and he realized that his gym is the only gym that offers training classes from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the evening, okay? And then he went and he increased his price for 50 euro per month to 60 euro per month, right? He could justify the higher price because he's offering a much better customer experience, much better customer service. He helps his customers decide what time they want to come, and they can shift and they can change any day, come in the morning, come during lunch, come at 10 o'clock in the evening, okay? So if we want to charge a higher fee for our freelancing services, we need to design or redesign our services in a way that will make it a compelling value proposition. Like with Stelios, with his gym, the flexibility, the freedom he provides to his students to come at any time they want in the gym justifies a higher premium, okay? So price is a very big chapter of what you'll be doing. The higher the price, the lower the clients you will need, but you need to give higher value as well. So the client has to understand why he or she is paying a higher price, right? So that's with what? To sum up, we need to clarify within our heads what it is that we will be doing when we take the plunge. Will I stay in the same industry, let's say as a lawyer, and set up my own legal practice? So I continue the same line of service, but I work for myself. That's one thing. Will I pivot and stay in the same industry, but instead of being a lawyer, I become a trainer of lawyers, or I become a consultant of lawyers, or I become a marketing consultant or coach for lawyers? So choice number 2, I stay in the same industry, but I do a pivot, an internal pivot. I do something else, and I leverage my knowledge, my expertise, my experience that I have gathered through the industry, and I repackage and repurpose it in something else. That's another way to do the freelancing pivot. Or I leave completely. I am a lawyer and I decide to become a music producer. I am a lawyer and I decide to become a coach. I am an accountant and I decide to be a marketing consultant, okay? Or I decide to become a negotiator. So these are the options, but it's very important to get them very clear in your mind when you do the pivot. Now, let's move to the next pillar of the webinar, which is very important, and it's none other than who and whom. Another question that you need to ask: whom will I be targeting as my ideal client? Not only my ideal client, but whom will I be targeting as an ally, a partner, an affiliate, somebody who will potentially refer work to me, somebody with whom I would like to set up a synergy, okay? So who? It is very important once I manage to define the what, okay? What do I want to be doing? In what line of services do I want to be focusing, right? And once I do that and I have my target market, then I have to decide whom do I want to target and get as clients? Before I move into the marketing, before I move into the business development realm, I need to understand who do I want as my clients and set up a list, okay? For me, for example, as a trainer of law firms and not only, and of organizations, I have a list and I say, I want to work with these 5 law firms, okay? I want to offer leadership training to these 5, 10 law firms. So I have my target, I have the specific names of the firms that I want to target, okay? Not only the type of firms I want to target, but the specific names as well. And you can do the same thing with affiliates. If you are a lawyer and you set up your own firm, for example, I'm using the lawyer example because I was a lawyer and I can use many examples. I am a lawyer, I pivot into freelance. So not only do I need to ascertain whom are my ideal clients, is it banks, is it supermarkets, is it individuals, is it children of deceased to help them with the succession and the inheritance thing. So on the one hand, I need to decide who do I want as my ideal clients, and then everyone or some companies, individuals, and then have a specific list of candidates, okay? Who should I ideally want to work with? A very big dilemma or question is, do I want to go B2B or B2C? Business to consumer or business to business? As Philippos, do I want to be offering one-on-one coaching services to individuals, to students, to lawyers, to accountants, to professionals? And here is the important thing. It is one thing to target a consumer, the B2C market, the business to consumer market, and a completely different animal targeting business. Let me tell you what I mean. If I want, or if somebody comes to me for coaching services, an individual, let's say a junior lawyer, they can ask their parents, can you give me some money to pay for this coaching service? So they are the decision makers, and the circle of people who influence them is very narrow. Either they have the money, so the consumer, the customer, the individual will have access to money to pay you, to hire you, or they will ask somebody else, maybe their parents, maybe their employer, maybe their friends, okay? So when you approach an individual, when your client is an individual, a physical person, your approach is completely different. And the dynamics of generating business when your target client is individual is very different to when you're targeting businesses, companies. Why? Because the business has many decision makers on different layers. Let's say I want to offer leadership training to a law firm, okay? And I talk to the HR, the human resources manager. I tell her, you know, I have this great program, 2 days. It can help you be more productive, more competitive, more happy, more motivated. It can help your team become much more competitive and productive. Great. The HR manager, maybe she loves me. Maybe she thinks, wow, that's a great guy. I believe in him and the value that he can bring. But the HR manager has to talk to some other people. She has to talk to the board of directors. She has to talk to the CEO. She has to talk to the chief financial officer to talk about budgets. So the business, when you talk to somebody in a business so as to sell them your services, you will find a number of gatekeepers. You may think that you sold yourself to the first person you meet. So if you're selling IT services or computers or digital marketing services to a company, you may have a great meeting with the IT manager, okay? But the IT manager has to talk to the chief financial officer for the budget, then potentially the chief procurement officer for how many offers the company has to procure before they decide whether to hire you or somebody else, right? And then they may also need to talk to the CEO, depending on how much control the CEO maintains or would like to maintain in the service procurement world. And in Cyprus, where I live, because companies are not humongous, they're small to medium most of the time, yes, the CEO also wants to be involved. So your pitch, your presentation, your approach, your communication, your strategy, when you're targeting individuals, as opposed to when you're targeting businesses, should be completely different, okay? It's more important to build relationships and to become friends with decision makers and with gatekeepers when you're targeting businesses, as opposed to when you're simply targeting individuals because they are the decision maker. They hold the money. It's up to them to be convinced by you and to buy your services. So business to business is one thing, business to consumer is a completely different thing, and it's good to separate our approach and our mindset when we are trying to get work from B2B or B2C. You can use LinkedIn, by the way, as well. LinkedIn is a very important and hot place to generate relationships with decision makers in organizations that you want. How to do it? You engage with their comments, with their posts, you comment, you warm up, and you create a relationship, and you place yourself under the radar of those people. So you go out there and you find the people who are the gatekeepers, who hold the keys to deciding whether or not you will get a piece of job and a piece of consultancy or whatever, and you begin to nurture and to warm up a relationship with them. And you definitely avoid hard selling techniques in the B2B world. Definitely do not sell cold messages to people that you want to meet them and sell your services. This will get you blocked, blacklisted, and it's a highway for you to screw everything up, pardon my French, in the business to business field as a freelancer. Okay, the business to business field needs cultivation, needs farming, to use an analogy. You need to play the long game, build relationships, right? Invest in the long game, and when you manage to gain the trust of the gatekeepers, and when you manage to establish yourself as somebody reliable, trustworthy, and as an authority in the area that you want to be active, then it is much more likely to reach out to them, ask for a meeting, a coffee, a Zoom call, whatever, and to tell them about the good things that you want to offer to them. Use LinkedIn, try to boost your personal brand, become visible, set yourself up as an expert, as somebody who is an authority in your field, right? And avoid the temptation of instant gratification, of spamming people, of sending messages to important people to meet with you before you even take the time to build and nurture the right environment where those people will be much more likely to be open to you, to discuss and to listen to what it is that you want to offer to them. So B2B and B2C, you can also do both. I do both, okay? Completely in different worlds, different budgets. An individual does not have the budget of a company. So even your prices, you need to consider your prices and your payment model when you are making offers to individuals or businesses. And once again, be deliberate and have a list of people and companies, maybe not people, but at least companies. Have a list so that you can have focus and so that you can channel the necessary energy to find a way to strategize and find a way to come close to those ideal clients. And maybe you will need to repackage your message and your content strategy as well, so as to be more attractive, more clear, less confusing, and more likely to attract them. So we are done with the who and the whom. Let's move to a more brief discussion on the where. It's very timely also with the COVID, with the work from home model. So do you need an office? Do you need to rent an expensive apartment or office space to go into freelance? Well, the easy answer is no, you don't. On the startup stage, you just need a laptop, a good laptop, a good internet connection. The only thorny point is that if you are going to be meeting with clients and prospects, you don't want to invite them in your bedroom, okay, or your kitchen for a meeting. That will not look very professional. So you can work from home, at least on the startup phase. You don't need an official space, but it's good to have a shared office space, for example, where you can pay, and there are such activities. You can message me and I can tell you, so that you can hold your meetings in a professional environment where people can feel welcome and people will not feel that their professionalism is compromised because of you not having any place to stay. But for the startup phase, you don't need an office, right? It also depends on your industry. I mean, if you are a lawyer, or if you are somebody who has many meetings with clients and with colleagues and with affiliates, this may create more pressure on you to rent an office. But once again, you can hire a shared space. There are many such places now, and pay a small monthly fee, which will allow you to work there as well with your computer and use the common facilities like conference rooms and so on for your meetings. So the where part is important, but I wouldn't be that concerned with it, at least for the first months, until you manage to get a taste of how is the new environment for you. The biggest chapter that you need to be concerned with is the how. That has everything in it, and there is a ton of different things and modules, perspectives and angles that it's good to bear in mind. I will begin throwing some your way. I don't want to confuse you. Once you begin the journey and once you begin doing the work, meeting with people and getting a couple of assignments, everything will seem much simpler than it sounds, okay? And everything will fall into place. But let me throw some important things that you need to take into account as regards the journey of the freelancer. Well, first question is, am I going solo or am I going with some partners? Okay, most people begin solo. Most people begin by themselves. Okay, let's say if you are a music producer, if you are a fitness coach, if you are a consultant, a trainer, a coach, a mentor, if you are a painter, if you are a whatever it is that you want to do, a dance coach, most people begin solo. And then they consider whether to do alliances, to bring partners in, affiliates, associates. But bear in mind that if and at a certain point in time you decide that you want to create an alliance and bring partners in, you then need to be thinking into other things, such as, do I need to set up a company? Okay, do I need to enter into an agreement on the sharing of profits? Do I need to formalize my relationship with them so as to make sure that if the enthusiasm fades and we disagree on who does what, we will not go into war without a clear resolution in mind. So depending on whether you will go solo or with partners, there are new branches opening up. And if you go with partners, bear into mind that you may need to also see into setting up a company, perhaps hiring a lawyer and drafting a shareholders agreement so that you have peace of mind and you can sleep when you go to bed. If things go sour and they go wrong, you will have an exit clause. Either you buy your partner or your partner buys you. There are many legal tools to do that. and to avoid a deadlock, which can be really emotionally draining. Okay, so let's assume that you are not starting with any partners. You should also consider associates and outsourcing services. And let me tell you what I mean. For example, you will definitely need a website, okay? Definitely need a website. The social media platforms are not enough. Why? Because the social media platforms, your social media accounts, your LinkedIn account, your Facebook account or page, your Instagram page, your Twitter page, all these things are great. They are very useful. But platforms change, okay? Today it's Facebook, tomorrow it may be TikTok. You cannot rely on having a presence on social media and not having a stable hub where you can channel people from all social platforms to check out your services, your content, your blog, and so on. So you need a website, okay? If you are a tech-savvy person, you can set up your own website and you can maintain your website as well. That's fair enough. You can do it, but not many people can do it. I couldn't do it, so I had to hire an agency to design my website and to host my website. You need to pay for that, of course. Then you need an email account, right? You need a domain. All these things fall under the package of online presence, okay? Need a website, need a domain, need an email and domain as well. And on the outsourcing, you need to decide who is going to be doing what. For example, will I be doing all my social media posts myself? If I have the capacity, the competence, the skill to write good copy, right? To write posts, to post things, and to have a good and respectful content media presence, I can do it myself, right? But if I am not confident enough to do it, I should be outsourcing the social media management factor. Again, there is a cost. What's the cost? It depends. It could be anything between 250 to 500 euro, depending on your quantity or your quantity or your needs. The website, once again, there is a price range that could range from 1,000 to 10,000 euro to set up a website, right? You need to be actively involved to set up a website. There is no magic wand which you can see and say, I want a website, okay? I want content marketing. I want somebody to write a blog for me. No, okay, there is no magic wand. If you want to outsource everything, you need a huge budget. So that's why I'm telling you that you need to do a lot of this juggling, okay? You need to juggle and shift between different hats and to balance what things you will outsource and what not. But in the process of deciding what to outsource and what not, you need to also take into account that if you don't outsource some things, but the quality of your output or your content of your website, of your blog posts is really low, your reputation can get a hit, okay? So you need to think very carefully what parts of your strategy, especially the online strategy, you will outsource. Should you hire a social media manager? Should you hire a webmaster to take care of your website? Should you do some part of yourself? I'll tell you my idea, and what I do is, if you have decent writing skills, if you can write decent English, for example, and you can write decent blog posts, you should have a blog and you should manage your own blog, okay? It should be a part of your website. Then you can take bits of your blog, distribute them within the various social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on. Link back to your website. So you can take up pretty much all the day-to-day management of your social media and website. You may need some training, but for example, if you will be using WordPress for your website, you can find tons of content on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on how to manage your own website as soon as an agency, for example, will set it up for you and design it for you. Okay, to repeat, my recommendation is that if you have decent copywriting skills, copywriting, when it comes to, let's say, blogging and social media, content marketing, and so on, you could consider doing part of that yourself. If you would like some help, there are people who can help you with, and I can recommend them. You can get in touch with me to check your wording, to proofread, to help you formulate, for example, your blog posts or your social media posts in a more professional way, and you can outsource that as well. But the more you outsource, you should know that the higher the budget will be of your project. Now, you need more than a website. You also need a logo. You need to hire a graphic designer, unless if you are great in designing, to create a logo for you and your brand and your website, to create, to come up with the brand colors of what you represent, which you can then use to integrate in your presence throughout the social media ecosystem. So you should have a consistent branding theme throughout YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, so that people can identify and they can see you as a brand of clarity and not a brand of confusion. And you will need some help with that as well. Usually the agency that will help you with your website could potentially help you also with the branding, the logos, the colors, and those things. You can also try some websites such as Fiverr with double R, and some other platforms like WeWork, where there are tons of freelancers who can help you. You can get some services for cheap in those platforms, but of course there is a risk that the quality may not be that good. But if you want to play around, you can try some of them. You can get the logo even for as low as 20 euro. Okay. If you want a proper job, however, and I suggest that you should meet with an agency and talk about the website and the branding as one. If they cannot do both, you can hire a separate agency to do the website and a separate agency to do your branding, the logo, the colors, and everything else, to help you with your banners, because you will be needing some banners for your social media presence. But if like me, you are a creative type and you want to do your own banners, let me tell you that there is a fantastic app which is called Canva. You can see on your screen. I wouldn't go for the free version because it's really restricted, but for a very reasonable fee, I can't remember to tell you now, like 10 euro or something per month, you can do all your banners yourself in a very user-friendly way. You can resize them, use them on your website, on your blog, then repurpose and resize them for LinkedIn, for your Facebook cover, for your posts, for your Facebook ads. You will need those as well, and I will go into that as well. And you can do it yourself, right? So if you want, you can outsource the graphic to a designer, the banners as well. But if you're like me and you want to be a creative type, you can go and subscribe to Canva and do the banners yourself and the creative and everything else. It's a fantastic app that you can use. Of course, all this, and with the logos, excuse me, I forgot to say, you also need, business cards. You need some parts, possibly. You need to stretch and expand your brand into the physical world, into the offline world as well. It helps a lot when you go to a meeting to give a business card with your logo, with your details. And why not, if you also have some parts, I have some here, I will show to you, with your logo, it may also signal that you care about appearance, and appearances matter, that you care about your, for example, this is a part that I created, similar to my business card. I don't have a business card nearby, but branding matters. And try to be consistent and professional with your branding, with your colors, because really it can rub people the wrong way if you don't really take branding seriously. You can send confusing signals. You can send the wrong signals about you not being professional enough. And why should I hire someone who has a crappy image, who has a crappy and confusing branding, theme, colors, and who doesn't have a proper business card as well. Another small tip, avoid using mass email accounts like Yahoo, Hotmail, Gmail. Have a proper official email address that can be connected to your domain. For example, mine is filarist.com. So my email is info@filarist.com. Don't use Yahoo or Google or Hotmail on your business card, because it shows, although we are all flexible, we work from home, we work in Starbucks, whatever, we want to show that we have a base somewhere. So on your business card and your website and everywhere, have something professional, like a proper email address, a proper business address if possible, have a proper landline telephone, and avoid using your mobile only, because once again, the more mobile and the more casual you look, the less credibility you will be perceived as having, because some people may say, Philippos is here today, but he's all Hotmail and mobiles and stuff. Maybe tomorrow he will do something else. So the more presence you show that you have with a fixed landline, with a proper email address, with a proper address, and eventually an office and a business location as well, the more trust you can expect people to see in you, and the more reliability you are perceived in having. Okay, let's see some more points here now. Now, subscriptions, all of these things, Canva, platforms. You may want to have a client relationship management system to gather all your new contacts, to send emails, newsletters to them. This will have a subscription cost. So you should expect that you will need to be subscribing to some software as a service platforms like Canva, MailChimp. Very important if you intend to create a mailing list to collect emails and to send people some newsletters, some news about new events, your new seminars, some speaking engagements, or whatever it is that you may have in place. It makes good sense to have MailChimp. MailChimp has a very helpful free account. You don't need to pay, and you can begin using the free version of MailChimp, like you can do for Canva as well. But Canva, once again, once you try the paid version, you will never go back. So MailChimp, there is a generic and free account that you can use for a single mailing list. Okay, so you can have a single mailing list of up to 500 emails, I think, which you can gather following, GDPR, data protection, all these new things now, of course, so as to send newsletters out and to keep your contacts informed. If you pay on MailChimp, you can design and you can create different mailing lists, which will be specific to what your contacts are specifically interested in. So you can send different things to different contacts depending on their behavior and what interests them. So you can be less, let's say, generic and less spammy by subscribing to the paid version of the MailChimp. But you don't need to do it right away. You can try the free version. You may also want to subscribe for some other, as I said, services. I cannot think of many right now. You don't need a hell of a lot of paid subscriptions when you begin. For example, this very platform I'm using right now for this webinar, I'm using StreamYard for my live streams. Okay, live streams and live videos are also a good way of boosting and enhancing your brand, because it's much easier to create trust through a live video with comments, with questions, with interactions with your audience and your clients and your contacts than with doing static posts in social media. So just to go back to this platform, StreamYard has a free account, but because I want to be streaming to different platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and others in the future, I paid for the premium subscription as well. So subscriptions are important list for your book as well. Choose them wisely. You don't need to waste money on many things. You can ask around, and believe me, it's like you need a maximum of 3 to 5 paid subscription when you begin, and even less. Okay. Next point, we are well into 1 hour and 5 minutes. Wow, that's fantastic. Keep sending your comments and your questions. Do I need a company? Do I need a corporation? Do I need to set up a corporate vehicle through which to perform my services? Well, in my part of the world, you don't need to, right? Unless your income reaches a certain level, because setting up a company has a certain cost, and maintaining a company has, let's say, additional costs that you don't if you are a self-employed freelancer. For example, if you are a self-employed freelancer, you may want to hire a tax consultant to help you with your tax returns, okay? Then you may want to have someone help you with your bookkeeping, with your accounts. But if you are comfortable with numbers, you can do your own bookkeeping in the beginning. So you need, let's say, with the if you also retain someone for VAT, because you will need to register for VAT if you are in the European Union and your income exceeds 15,600 euro within any period of 12 months, okay, you are obliged to register for VAT, right? So if you have a tax and a VAT consultant helping you with your compliance, that should cost you something north of 1,500 euro per year. But if you incorporate a company, you also have to pay audit fees for auditors, because the company has to have audited financial statements, which is another like 1,000 to 2,000 euro. Then you also need to pay a corporate levy to the government for the company. And there are other fees and costs, filings of forms, corporate documents involved. I would suggest that you don't incorporate a company until you reach a critical, for a freelancer, milestone, which in my part of the world and in Cyprus is around 17 grand per year. So if you manage to generate around 17 grand per year, 70,000 euro per year, because then you will need to prepare audited financial statements anyway, whether you are an individual or not, then it will make sense to incorporate a company and do your business through the company, issue invoices in the company's name and so on, okay? Now, should you register for VAT even before you reach the milestone of the 15,600 euro in my part of the world? There is no textbook answer of that, but bear in mind that potential clients and customers to whom you address your offers, if you are not registered for VAT, they know by default that your income is less than 15,600 euro. What I mean is that even if your income is less than the critical milestone, even if your income is 10,000 euro per 20 months, for the 12-month period, and you are registered for VAT, you send a signal to the market or to the prospect that you are meeting that, this guy is registered for VAT, which means that his business generates more than 15,000 euros. Does it make sense? So it's a communication strategy. You may need to pay some more money for your VAT compliance, your VS, and so on, but having a VAT number suggests that your income is higher than 15K per year for a 12-month period. So it's a communication trick, right? Good. So these are the important points that I wanted to touch as regards the how. Now, building your brand will be very important as a freelancer, okay? As an individual, you are advised to leverage social media, because they are free. Okay. You don't need to pay 500 euro to a local newspaper for an ad. You can do it, but how many people go to the kiosk and buy physical newspapers? You should take advantage of the fact that you have an internet connection and that posting content on, let's say, LinkedIn is free, and you should begin posting thoughtful, careful, value-packed content even daily. I will not tell you that daily is the right thing to do. You need to balance between quality and quantity. So you shouldn't publish rubbish posts or spammy posts just so that you appear on the newsfeed of people, of your potential clients, because they will block you or they will unfollow you. So if your content is crappy, if you only spam people, buy my services, I am the greatest, I am the best, I look at my new suit, look at my new suitcase and this thing, they will unfollow you. Content can have quantity and quality, provided that the content is about the audience, provided that you talk about things that matter to your audience. Okay, let's say if you are selling, if you are selling legal services, okay, your content could be about things that people care about. Accidents, for example. When you have a car accident, the first thing you need to do is call your insurance company. Then you should do A, B, C, D, E, G. Okay. Then something else. If you are a corporate lawyer, you can say, if you want to set up a company, I advise you to follow these steps, because if you do that, you will save costs and so on and so forth. If you are, if you sell wine, okay, like Gary Vaynerchuk, who, the media persona who became a tycoon through the social media, you can talk about wine. This variety of wine is really bubbly, is really fruity, is great for these types of dinner, these types of food and so on. Whatever it is that you want to sell, if you are selling, if you're an accountant or a tax consultant, your content should be about your niche or your service, but not spammy. You should talk about things that matter to your audience. So there will be a new tax change in the next few weeks, and for those of you who own a private property, make sure that you go and register it online so as to save this amount of money, whatever. Or if you are training, I know Elena, who is actually with us. Elena, I will come back to you soon. Hello. So Elena is training the accounting departments of law firms, of organizations, okay? And what she does, what she began doing, and it's great, is that she began creating content around accounting fundamentals, what an accounting department in a firm should look for, what an accountant should pay attention to when preparing the payroll. So your content should be about matters of value. It should not be spammy. It should not be about how great you are, but you should give free value so as to set up yourself as an authority in your area, and so as to plant seeds right and left in the minds and the brains of the viewers about you showing up, being consistent, being reliable, knowing what you're talking about, caring, giving value. And believe it or not, you are gaining trust. You are coming across as a trustworthy person. And by reaching out to them, if they don't reach out to you, because it is very likely that by establishing a reputable online presence, they will also reach out to you, you are much more likely to convince them to sit around a table with you than if you appear out of nowhere, okay, a parachutist, as I like to say, out of nowhere, like a genie out of a bottle, and you offer to solve problems, okay? People buy from people they like, from people they know, and from people they trust. If you are invisible, people do not know you. People cannot like you, and how can they trust you? So people buy from people they like, from people they know, and from people they trust. So to help people get to know you, you should seriously consider upping your game and begin to post and create content and give value around your niche, around your service, around your market, around your industry, whatever it is. In that case, they will know you because your brand will fall under the radar. You will come under the radar. It is more possible that they will like you if you are consistent, if you care, if you are professional, if you are friendly, if you are quick to respond to messages and to comments and so on. And then you are much more likely to generate trust that will lead to converting that attention into revenue, into new business, into whatever it is that you will be doing. Okay. LinkedIn, pay attention to LinkedIn. A lot of great potential there. Thank you. Keep sending your comments. I will come back to you all. I see that some coaches are joining and are viewing this webinar. I'm very happy about that. Some people that I respect a lot. For coaches, the same things apply as the things I have been saying. So create content, put yourself out there, place yourself, position yourself in the radar of your potential clients and give value to them. Give them things that they can use in their daily life. Okay, don't be stingy, don't withhold the good stuff. Information is not what will bring work to you. Information should freely distribute today. Okay, the trick is to win the hearts and the minds of the prospects, and to do that, you need to be generous, to give free content, free advice around your niche, around your product, around your service, around your industry, right? So aside of LinkedIn, which is a very fundamental pillar of your journey as a freelancer, okay, very important, you should consider how to create traffic for your website. How can I send people to my website? There are ways to do it. Search engine optimization. You can hire an expert, possibly within the agency that you will hire for your website, to help you with that. But you need content, and a great way to do it is to set up a blog in your website, to write, give value about things that people care about, which are related to what you do. If you are a life coach, for example, you can offer great mindfulness techniques. You can offer great ways of concentration, motivational things about energy, about time management, setting priorities, energy management, whatever it is that you can give and you can have people benefit from, it would help you. So by having a blog on your website, then what you can do is that you can post your blog posts on social media, and with a link, you can send people back to the website to read the whole blog, for example. On your website, you will have a call for action like contact me for more information, for a free consultation, and this thing. So the strategy should be, I have a website, where I have my services, my who I am, my CV, and so on. Then I have a blog, which can be the lifeblood and the oxygen of the website, because you keep it alive by posting new things. The blog posts, you distribute, you disseminate them in the social media stratosphere, okay, in the various platforms, like a hook. You can post part of the blog post, and then you can post the link, which you will then invite people to go to your website. Then you can start thinking about collecting emails, like creating landing pages, free ebooks, free things that you can give to people with the minimal inconvenience of typing their email address, so that you can collect emails through MailChimp, create a newsletter, create a group of people that you can stay in contact with them. Aside of LinkedIn, it's a great opportunity to also try to utilize local newspapers, like websites, go and speak at events. Difficult now with COVID, I know. You can speak at digital events if you go on conferences. So try to get yourself out there. Try to make yourself seen. Try to make yourself known. Show up daily. It shows consistency. It shows that you have a mission. It shows that you care about what you do. And so somebody, a decision maker who will see you show up every day, who will see you being tenacious, being determined, being deliberate, being intentional about what it is that you do, is more likely to feel comfortable to recommend you to his or her CEO, to see his or her chief financial officer for a job, because she will feel or he will feel more comfortable in doing so, having the privilege of seeing you online, seeing you being faithful, seeing you being consistent, punctual, showing up, and being reliable. Okay, so what you definitely want to avoid is being invisible in today's world, because if you are invisible, those who are visible will get the job. Simple as that. Attend conferences, do some business development, exchange some cards. Okay, prospecting will be a major part of your journey. Prospecting, let me show you what I have here. This is a funnel. Okay, having a funnel full of potential clients, okay, will be essential for you to stay afloat. Will be essential for you to stay in the game. How do you do that? You can see on the screen the funnel as well. LinkedIn, articles, speaking to conferences, writing articles, doing free webinars such as this one. You need to keep the eyeballs on you at all times. Okay, there is a theory which provides. Great, I have a very good comment here as well on lead generation, which provides that if you have 100 potential clients in your funnel, so if 100 people visit your website because they saw a blog post, because they saw a LinkedIn article, because they saw you somewhere, a maximum of 10 to 15% maximum will convert, most likely around 5%. This means that you need to do everything in your capability to keep the eyeballs on you, on your content, on your activity, on your journey, in a way that will help you keep your pipeline full of prospects, of potentially interested people, and so on, because you will get many people bounce. That's why it's a funnel, because if you turn on the water faucet, the tap water, at some point the water will overflow. Okay, and this is how the market works. Okay, if somebody wants to hire a trainer, for example, okay, they will see me, they will see this webinar, okay, they will come into this funnel. They may qualify, they may pass through the small hole, which may make them into my client, but the vast majority of people who will turn their attention to you will bounce. And you should be okay with that. Okay? In the freelancing world, you should expect no. You should expect rejection. You should expect silence, sending emails, spending 3 hours to formulate your pitch, your offer, your letter of proposition, and receiving nothing. Okay? In the beginning, you will feel sad, disappointed. You'll feel like the world is an unjust place. I spent 3 hours to prepare my pitch, to use a great letterhead with colors and to sign it and to send it off, and I didn't even receive a reply. But you may even send a follow-up. Okay, you need to follow up and still receive no reply. You should be okay with it, because once again, as a freelancer, you need to master the art of prospecting. There is a great book called Fanatical Prospecting you can check out, which can help you keep your funnel full of prospects. Because if your funnel is empty, you will have no business. You will run out of business, period. You need to keep being active, creative, keep caring about what you do. There are challenges, but if you love what you do, you can come up with a great number of ways to keep your pipeline full. Okay. Now let's go back to, yeah. Let's see the bullets now. We've seen the timing. We've seen how a freelancer is not necessarily an entrepreneur, okay, unless you intentionally, you deliberately decide that what you want to do is to do less of the work that I care about and to move into the ownership pedestal and to have people do that work for me, right? We've said that you need to be intentional as to which way you want to go. Then we've seen challenges and opportunities in going solo because there are challenges. It's a whole new game. There is no 9 to 5. I'm telling you, you can be working 14 hours a day, including weekends, but work is not work if you love what you do. Okay? There are times where I'm working at 11 o'clock on a Sunday evening, preparing for a workshop, preparing for a project. If you enjoy what you do, you don't even classify it as work, okay? Take it from me, I've been doing it for more than 2 years, and I'm telling you that. But there is no silver bullet. You need to work your ass. You need to work your ass, grow a thick skin, and keep moving forward. Then, developing your branding strategy. Yes, we've seen that if you don't intend to become visible, to have a brand that you are proud of, and to get out of there and communicate your message to the world, don't go at all. Don't go at all, because you will fall flat on your face and you will not be able to take off. Okay, you should feel proud about the goods that you intend to bring to the world, and you should feel proud and not feel that people will think that you are narcissistic, that you are showing off, and all this bullshit that goes around. I'm low profile. I don't go in front of a camera. This is complete rubbish. Social media are free. They have disrupted the traditional media empire. Everyone can get out there like me with you right now and deliver their message for free, and you don't need to pay a single penny to a newspaper or to whoever to help you boost your brand, to help you reach people who care about what you do, so that you will care about them and you will deliver goods and services to them that you're proud of. Leveraging social media, we've seen you need a formidable strategy. You need a tango between a well-designed and managed website, a fast-loading website. That's why you need help. Don't do it yourself if you don't know about websites, WordPress, and so on. So it's the tango between a really efficient, professional, and attractive website on the one hand, and the proper utilization and leveraging of social media. So there is a tango going on between your website and your social media, which will bring people to your funnel. Your funnel is primarily your website, your service pages, your calls to action, your page saying contact me for a free consultation, and so on. So you need a constant dance between your website and your social media, right? The subtle art of prospecting, we have seen it. Generating leads and clients, I have a great comment on that I will come back to. Then pricing and double-edged sword, we have seen. Think about your price. Don't feel, okay, there is no perfect price, okay? There is no perfect price. And you can adjust, you can adapt. But as long as you are intentional about the price you set upon yourself, and you are not doing it randomly, you should be good to go. So if I deliberately and intentionally set a high price because I am aiming for the big players, smaller jobs, fewer jobs, and I change and I shift my prospecting game to target business to business organizations, that's fine, as long as I have value to back up the higher price, because people are not stupid. It's like, buying, let's say that you buy a very expensive microwave, and the second day it breaks. The same with your services. If you're very expensive as a painter, as a graphic designer, as a baker, as a digital marketing expert, as a lawyer, as an accountant, as an advisor, as a life coach, if you're very expensive, okay, and you don't have the value and then differentiation to back it up, it will backfire and you will look like a fool, okay? So as long as you know and you are intentional about your price, because you can be cheap because that's what you want to do, because maybe price is your value, you should be good to go, and you can adjust along the way. Just try to avoid giant leaps between your adjustments, because you will be perceived as chaotic and you will not send the right signals to the market, okay? Building trust, we've seen it throughout the various pillars. The fastest way to fail to close deals is to avoid spending time to build trust, especially in the business to business world. If you want to sell to the business to business world, because there are many stakeholders, because there are many decision makers, because there are many and several gatekeepers in the game who will discuss, who will need to feel proud and comfortable and confident in recommending you, you should make sure that you gain their trust first. Do your homework, be prepared, offer value. Before you go to a meeting with a prospect, study the company, study the industry, know a few things about them, about what they do, about their unique sales proposition, and then go there and show that you care, okay? Before you win trust, don't even bother mentioning prices, because you will be rejected, especially if you offer a high ticket service. The higher your price is, the higher the chances are that the door will be slammed in your face if you fail to build trust first, okay? Great, I received more comments. I'm circling up. I'm coming to the end. Yes, the last point that has to do with prices, and then I will wrap it up and go to the questions. You need to answer the question as to who am I, what am I, okay? And also be prepared to accept the following, okay? The journey to the customer's heart does not begin from your door. The journey to the customer's heart begins from the customer's door. What I mean by that is that if you want to succeed as a freelancer, okay, it doesn't matter as to how great products or services you offer. It doesn't matter as to how incredible the new software you built is. It doesn't matter as to what a great person you are, what great coaching services you can offer, as long as you don't understand what the client needs. The journey to the heart of the client, so as to trigger the trust, so as to open, to encourage her to open the door for you, begins from the doorway of the client, from the needs of the client, okay? From the specific circumstances in the life of the client, the specific person you are approaching, and how you can help them. It doesn't start with your products, it starts from their needs. Once you manage to understand, okay, the needs, then you formulate, or you adjust, or you redesign, or you recalibrate, or you repackage your service in a way that will meet the specific need of the client. It's not about you pushing your services to them. It's about you trying to be a match for the specific needs of the client, okay? That's pretty much it. We went well into 1 hour and 35 minutes. We have quite a few people on. Continue to send your messages. I will go through them now one by one. I will start with the first one. Mario's last, I already set up the comment before. Mario, hello, thank you for passing by. If you'd like to, if any one of you writes music or is a musician and would like somebody to help them bring their music into reality, from A to Z, production, orchestration, anything, arrangement, Marius is your guy. Send him a message and he can do it for you. He is the epitome of a successful freelancer because he works so hard about something he loves. He produces music, he performs music, he's a great guitarist and bassist. So his niche is music production, okay? But he branched out as well, right? Production, composition, performing, and all these things. So you see that even in music, I mean, you can make music your full-time job as long as you are deliberate, you have a strategy. And Marius is great also in communication, by the way, the way he communicates his brand and his services online. He's phenomenal, right? So that's a good example of a freelancer who went completely into music, and he's doing a great job. Elena, hi Elena. Elena Michael, we did the training for the become trainers together. Also, she spent many years in the corporate world as a chief financial officer of a big conglomerate. Now she has her own academy. She did her own pivot into the freelancing world, where she trains and she helps people become great accountants. She helps companies build and up the game in their accounting departments. Once again, Elena decided that in her freelancer journey, she would concentrate on the teaching and coaching, and on the academic part. She has her own academy. Another great example of a great pivot. Okay, great pivot, bold pivot, leaving the 9-to-5 world, and a great remuneration package to do what she loves, and she's doing great so far. Thank you, Elena. Marie, hello, Marie. I'm very happy that you're on the live stream. Marie is also, she's into the coaching business. Thank you very much for passing by. Marie, I think you also, yes, there is another question by Marie. There's a question by Marie. Hi, Philippos. Do we need to publish our prices as freelancers in our website, social media, or not? I'll tell you the first thing that comes from a gut feeling. No, I'm not in favor of that. You can if you want. I think that coaching and consultation, I don't see this line of services as menu type of services. For me, you can have your list of prices, but of course you should have them, or a range between what you charge. But in my view, if you publicize your prices, there is a risk. Okay, the first thing is that I believe, as I said, that I don't see coaching as something that you can, publish a menu. Like, personally, some people may think this is wrong. So the second point is that you get locked into the prices for the reason I said, that if you publish your prices, it's much easier for everyone to, it's much more difficult for you to be flexible in adjusting them, okay? So for the reasons that I said, that in this world where you offer intangible value, like coach, like consulting, like mentorship, and so on, you want some flexibility, okay? You want some flexibility. Maybe we'll do some packages. Maybe we'll do some one-on-one. So not publishing your prices, on the one hand, deprives people from having a clear image on your package, which could potentially lead more leads to your way. Because if somebody, let's say if you say that you charge 50 or 150 euro per hour on your website, okay, people who will come to your website are much more likely to be qualified as buyers because they will know your prices. So if they send you an inquiry, you know that you tick most of the boxes already. Whereas if you don't have your prices, there's a price element, and the chance that they will bounce is higher. But in my case, I deliberately decided not to post them because I want flexibility, because I want to make some packages. Some people may want some services that I can repackage and repurpose. For example, I can design a consulting package that can include coaching, or a consulting package that can include training, like workshops. So I don't want to publish fixed prices, because then I will not be able to maneuver and come up with tailor-made prices on the go. I hope that I have answered it, but feel free to send a follow-up. From Stathis, hello. Thank you for watching this live as well. We had a great episode with Stathis on his journey as an Olympian. He's a great insurance advisor. Elena Karigis, hello, Elena. Hi, Philippos, extremely interesting and to the point in all aspects. Thank you for passing by. I'm very happy that you made it. Elena is on a very interesting journey, actually, because she works in a law firm, a reputable law firm, in an important position, and she has a passion for life coaching. I had a conversation with Elena. I saw her website. She's doing a great job, I think. She's at a point where she combines the best of both worlds, right? So she's doing the 9 to 5 office work, important work in the law firm where she is. And at the same time, she's channeling some of her love and her energy into the life coaching practice that she has. Elena, I hope that the information in the beginning regarding the timing was helpful for you. You don't need to pivot completely into the new practice, but as you know, and as they say in our country, if you are a priest and you have two churches, it's difficult to do proper service to both. So what I want to say is that, I mean, if you want to devote 100% of your time into the coaching, it may be difficult to keep up with the office. And the other way as well, if you want to be 100% in the office, inevitably you will take a more relaxed approach on your coaching practice. Okay, analyzing the life coaching practice is a really important area that has a lot of growth right now, in not only Cyprus, in the world. Many freelancers pivot from psychology, from HR, and from other realms into life coaching. Of course, when we talk about coaching, it's important also to get some training, to learn some tools, and get some certifications as well, because there is a lot of competition out there, and the more tools and certifications and criteria you have, the better it is for you to place yourself in the competition, and the higher the price you'll be able to demand. So thank you, Elena, again for passing by. Christine, my friend Christine, Sherry, this live has been packed with value. You really planned this well. Thank you so much, Christine. I'm very honored to receive these comments from you. I had Christine on one of Marvel Talks. It was such a fantastic episode, full of value. Christine is the epitome of somebody who did a radical pivot from a manager in a team who was responsible for 33 people, I think, back in 2015, in a big corporation, huge responsibilities, great paycheck. She took the plunge and she went straight into the consulting world. She became a coach. She published an amazing book. I have it here somewhere. It's up there. UMAP. We talked about it in my podcast. You can check it on my website. Amazing lady. She published. It's a bestseller, by the way. Her book is a bestseller. She wrote more than 5 books on career changes, on these things we are talking right now. So you should check out her book, UMAP. Contact me or Christine for more information if you want. I can vouch for it. I have it. I read it. It's great on how to move into a new career realm, right? Now she writes children's books. She's completely, it's been 5 years now in her journey, and she's, as a freelancer, Christine says that she cannot even believe that she's being paid to play, because she's doing exactly what she loves. And it's what I said before, as a freelancer, you may be working like crazy hours, not every day, but sometimes you may be working like 14 hours a day. But if the work you will be doing is aligned with who you are, with your drive, your motivation, your passion, your talent, your strengths, you will have energy to do much more than you think. So thank you, Christine. And by the way, she published her own children's books right now. Amazing initiative. I think it's called You've Got Gifts. It's a series of books. Check it out. Amazing books and amazing friend. Thank you, Christine, for passing by. I think we checked more. We have Pericles. I will come back to Pericles. He has an important point. Yes, Elena, send a follow-up. Each food is in a different place, of course, because one food is in the office, the important position she has, the other food in the live coaching. Thank you. It's my pleasure, Christine. Okay, now I will concentrate on Pericles, who has a great topic. Hello, Philippos, Pericles Hannah. Very valuable info. Thank you, Pericles. Facebook lead generation is a great tool to get leads, but always this depends where your target is. I fully agree with you, and let me take it a step further, Pericles, because we talked about content marketing, we talked about the tango between the website and the social media, and how you should make sure that there is a flow of information and of activity between your website and your social media. You should, of course, create organic content on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and that's that. But you also need to understand that things like Facebook ads, okay? I will not talk about Google ads because it's a big topic, but Facebook ads are a key topic you certainly need to consider for generating, for boosting your brand, but also for your Facebook page. It's a very efficient way to get many likes, to increase the likes and the social credibility of your page, of your Facebook page. So you can run campaigns. They are not that as expensive as you think. You can run campaigns so as to generate attention, get people to like your page, and then you can actually also run campaigns for your services for specific. Maybe you want to do some webinars, or maybe you want to do some events, or maybe you're selling services online, coaching, maybe you're a dog walker, a masseuse, maybe you are a baker, as I said, maybe you sell tomatoes. It doesn't matter. You are a fitness coach, you are a vocal coach. We had a great friend, Alex Economo, on the podcast some time ago. We had a great discussion, you can check it out, as to how a coach, a music coach, can survive in this world. A fitness coach, we also had Stelios Panayotou. It's episode 2, I think, of my podcast. Check it out as well if you are a fitness coach. So we have quite a few different freelancers sharing the stories on my podcast. You can go and check it out. Now, Pericles, yes, that's a big chapter also on the paid aspects of the conversation. Aside of Facebook lead generation and Facebook ads, LinkedIn, I can advise, if you're considering going LinkedIn Premium, my personal view, don't do it in the beginning, okay? You will not get, I think, as much benefit as you would if you were to subscribe to the LinkedIn, I think it's called the sales generator. I forgot the name, but there is another great paid service on LinkedIn that can help you tremendously. But I think you need neither of those, but seriously consider Facebook ads for the time being. And that's why you will need to watch a ton of videos on YouTube, on Facebook ads, on how to manage your website, how to write blogs, how to create content. Sales Navigator. Pericles, Sales Navigator, yes. You get much more back and value for your money if talking about LinkedIn. If you want to subscribe to something, my personal recommendation, subscribe to the Sales Navigator on LinkedIn and not Premium. I've tried Premium. To be honest with you, I wasn't tremendously assisted by it. So I can vouch for Sales Navigator. I think it's much better for you, for highly focused searches, for highly targeted campaigns, and generally it's much more good value for money. I went through all the comments, so unless I receive any more comments, I will make my concluding remarks. Let me switch off the banners here. Yes, I think I answered all the comments. If anyone has sent something that is no, it's all been answered. So going back to the beginning, I think we have covered the key pointers. We are nearly 2 hours in the webinar. Wow, I'm surprised myself that I managed to keep talking with just one glass of water. I would like to tell you that, to conclude, the freelancing path is possible, is feasible, it's promising. Today, with the technology, with the low entry cost, it's easy for everyone to set up shop. Okay. For this precise reason, you are much more likely to have fierce competition from other freelancers. But I can assure you that during my 2 years plus a couple of months time as a freelancer, my conclusion is that the success stories that I had over the past 2 years are directly stem from intentional, deliberate decisions and choices I made. What I mean by that is that although no one will hand anything over to you on a silver platter, so as a freelancer, I suggest that you don't expect your family and friends, okay, to become your crutches on your new journey. And I can guarantee you that if you are deliberate, if you are intentional, if you put in the hard work, and if you follow some of the general directions and themes that I have highlighted during the webinar, I can guarantee you that you will discover that you have strengths, talents, skills, and an untapped potential you have not even been thought possible. So let me wish you the best of luck in whatever it is that you choose to do. I hope that I have provided some value. Thank you for your great comments and for keeping me company at that time of the evening. It's nearly 10 o'clock here in Cyprus in the evening. Wishing you all the best, and hopefully we will continue staying in touch with every one of you. So if you would like to get in touch for any more information, check out my website at philarist.com. Let me try to write it actually here. It's philarist.com. You can find out my blog as well as my podcast episodes there. It's here at philarist.com. Tomorrow, for those of you who are watching, I have a great guest on my podcast. It's Claude Silver, the Chief Heart Officer of VaynerMedia. Claude was hired by Gary Vaynerchuk to scale him basically, and I am really looking forward to our talk at 5:10 p.m. So 5:10 Cyprus time or Eastern European summer time, and I think it's like something like 10:10 a.m. in New York. And I mean, I can send you the details over message if you want to check it out. So check it out tomorrow. It's going to be a fantastic discussion, and thank you again for keeping me company. And let me wish you all the best and take care. Take care, everyone. Bye. Ciao.